still remember the exact sound of that wrapping paper. Not the look of it, not the colour, just the sound. A slow, dry crinkle, like skin rubbing against dry leaves, like something under the surface was stretching, shifting, breathing. I know how that sounds. I know. But if you stay with me, here in the dark, until the very end, you're not going to think I am exaggerating. My name is Emily. I am 27 years old, and I'm whispering this to you tonight because I need you to hear it the way I heard it. I want you to feel how it crawled into my ears in the silence of my apartment. So, get comfortable, turn your lights down, closer, and if someone gave you a doll as a Christmas gift recently, if there is a porcelain face anywhere in the room with you right now, you might want to put it in another room, face down. Before we start, I need you to understand something first. I grew up loving Christmas. I was obsessive about it. I was the kid who started listening to holiday playlists in November, the one who cried when the tree came down. My mother called me her little elf. My dad called me the present goblin because I would count the boxes under the tree every single morning, memorising their shapes. That feeling never really went away. Even as an adult, I loved the smell of pine, of cinnamon, that weird, cosy mix of cold winter air and artificial heater warmth. And I used to love dolls. When I was little, I had a collection. You know the ones. Glass eyes, stiff bodies, curls that never looked quite like real hair. My grandmother gave me most of them. She said they were special. But as I got older, I started to find them wrong. It was the eyes. If you've ever been alone in a bedroom at night with a shelf full of porcelain dolls staring at your bed, you know exactly what I mean. I used to turn them to face the wall before I went to sleep. I couldn't handle the weight of their gaze. And then, one night when I was 12, I woke up, and one of them, just one, was turned back toward me. I convinced myself I had forgotten. Just a mistake. The next night, it was a different doll. After a week of that, I made my mum put them all in the attic. I tried not to think about dolls at all after that. I went to college. I moved to the city. My life became exams, cheap coffee, and the noise of neighbours through thin walls. Christmas became my anchor, my safe place, until last year. It started with a phone call in the second week of December. My little fake tree was already up, leaning slightly to the left on my coffee table. My mum called. She sounded off, not sad, just heavy, like she was apologising for something she couldn't stop. She said, I got a package from your grandmother's estate. There were some of your old things in it. My grandmother had died that summer. Toward the end, she had become strange. She used to be strong, intimidating. But in the last few years, she started whispering to corners, hiding things, humming lullabies in the middle of conversations. Sometimes, on the phone, I would hear her in the background, her voice sharp with fear. She keeps moving them. I told her not to move them. I never asked who she was. I didn't want to know. So when Mum called and mentioned the package, my stomach tightened. What kind of things? I asked. Paperwork, a jewellery box, and a doll. My throat went dry. I thought we gave them all away, I said. We did, Mum answered slowly. But this one, I've never seen this one before. It was wrapped in an old shawl. There was a note with your name on it. She paused. Honestly, it creeps me out a little. But I thought, maybe you would want it. As a keepsake. I should have said no. But there was so much guilt. I hadn't visited my grandmother enough. I felt like I had abandoned Sure, I lied. Send it. Are you sure? Yes, it will be nice. Okay, she said. I'll mail it tomorrow. Then, quietly, if you don't like it, you don't have to keep it. The box arrived 3 days later. A plain cardboard shipping box. The postmark was smudged by melted snow. I brought it inside. The apartment was quiet. That heavy winter silence where you can hear the blood in your own ears. I sliced the tape. Inside there was a layer of old yellowed tissue paper, and on top an envelope with my name. Emily, written in my grandmother's precise, shaky cursive. I opened it. The paper smelled of old perfume and dust. The letter was short. No, how are you? No Merry Christmas. Just this. My dear Emily, this little one has been with me a very long time. She is well behaved, if you remember the rules. 1. Never leave her facing a mirror. 2. Never leave her alone with a child. 3. Never let her watch you sleep. When I am gone, it is your turn to look after her. With love. Grandma, I read the lines again. Never let her watch you sleep. I tried to smile. I told myself it was just her dementia, just old-world superstition, but the air in the room felt suddenly colder. I peeled back the tissue paper. The smell hit me first. It wasn't rot exactly. It was the smell of time, old dust trapped in fabric, sweet, dry decay, like flowers left on a grave for a month. I lifted the bundle out. It was heavy, solid. I loosened the old burgundy shawl, and then I saw her. She was about the size of a small baby. Her dress was deep green velvet, trimmed with yellowing lace, tiny buttons, grey stockings, little black shoes with scuffed toes. But the face, the skin was fine porcelain, covered in hairline cracks that spiderwebbed around her temples and chin. Her lips were painted a soft rose, slightly parted, showing the hint of 2 tiny white teeth. And her eyes, deep, glassy, blue. But they weren't centered. One eye looked straight ahead. The other was turned just a fraction of an inch to the right, as if she had been surprised by something, and never looked back. That misalignment gave her a look of intense, terrifying alertness. She looked like she was listening. I felt a cold pressure in my chest, an instinctive, I do not like this. I turned her head slightly to face the window, away from me. As I did, I saw the name written on the back of her neck in faded ink. Lydia. Lydia, I whispered. The name felt like a cold stone in my mouth. I put her on the coffee table. With the tree lights on, she looked almost okay. The red and green lights blinked in her glass eyes. Like a pulse, I took a picture and sent it to my mum. I told her it was charming. I lied. That night, I went to bed, and I made my first mistake. I left the bedroom door open. From my pillow, I could see into the living room. I could see the tree, the table, and Lydia. She was facing the window, but in the window glass, I could see her reflection. I didn't think of the note. Never leave her facing a mirror. In the dark glass of the window, her reflection stared back into the room. I drifted off to sleep, and the dreams began. I dreamed I was a child again. In my old bedroom, the shelf of dolls was there. But one doll was new, the one in the green velvet dress. In the dream, the room was freezing, and there was a sound. Tick, 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 like something hard tapping against wood. Tick, pause, tick, tick, pause. The doll on the shelf wasn't moving, but the sound was coming from her tiny porcelain shoes. Tick, scrape. One step, tick, scrape. Another step. In the dream, I couldn't move. Paralysis weighed me down. The doll's head tilted. turned me away. I woke up gasping. It was 3:12 a.m. The apartment was silent. Too silent. I forced myself to get out of bed. I walked to the living room doorway. The tree lights blinked. Red, green, red, green. I looked at the coffee table. Lydia was not facing the window. She was turned toward me. Her body had rotated. Perfectly. Deliberately. Her hands were folded in her lap. Her dress was smoothed down. But her little black shoes were pointed directly at my bedroom door. And both of her eyes, that wandering, lazy eye included, were fixed on where I was standing. I froze. I knew I hadn't touched her. I walked over, my hands shaking, and I picked her up. She was ice cold. I turned her back to the window. "You freaked me out," I whispered to the empty room. "Congratulations." That night, I closed my bedroom door. The next few days were wrong. Small things. No matter where I put her, the bookshelf, the table, the mantel, I would leave the room, and when I came back, she would be different. Just slightly. Her head tilted a degree more to the left. Her hands closer together. A shoe turned outward. I started taking pictures to prove I wasn't crazy. Morning photo. Head straight. Evening photo. Head tilted. I zoomed in on the pixels until they blurred. Nothing else on the shelf had moved. Just her. By the third day, I couldn't stand looking at her. I put her inside the cabinet under the TV. It was a dark wooden space where I kept spare cords. I sat her there, facing the closed doors. "There," I whispered. "You can't move now." I shut the doors. Thud. I didn't think about the darkness. That night, around 4 a.m, a sound woke me. Thump, thump, soft, muffled, thump, thump. It was coming from the living room, from inside the cabinet. And then, I heard my name, not in my ears, but inside my head. Lie. A dry, rasping sound, like sandpaper on bone. I ran into the living room. I ripped the cabinet doors open. She was sitting there, but she wasn't facing the back. She was pressed forward. Her nose was almost touching the wood of the door. She had been sitting there, listening. I slammed the doors shut. "You're going in the closet," I said aloud. "Tomorrow, you go in the box." The next day, I called my mum. I asked her about the doll, about the rules. "Did Grandma really believe that stuff?" I asked. Mum hesitated. She was intense about it, Em. She used to say, "Lydia is watching the children. Lydia keeps them in line." She said the rules weren't superstition. She said they were experience. Experience. That word chilled me. My mum sent me a photo of the will. The keeper must be blood. The house must be warm. The eyes must not be alone in the cold. Do not abandon her. Do not turn her away. I hung up. I got the original shipping box. I opened the TV cabinet. Lydia was waiting. I picked her up to put her in the box. As I did, something fell from her lap. A tiny metal charm. A silver heart. Engraved on it was E+. The second letter was scratched out violently. I put the charm in a bowl on the table. I looked at the doll's wrists as I put her in the box, and I screamed. Internally, silently, I screamed. There were scratches on her porcelain wrists, not cracks, scratches, marks, 4 vertical lines, 1 diagonal, tally marks, counting. Counting what? I taped the box shut. I shoved it in the back of the hallway closet, behind the vacuum cleaner and the winter coats. "Done," I whispered. The closet light flickered and buzzed. I closed the door. That night, I thought I would finally sleep. I was wrong. I dreamed I was in the closet, but it wasn't a closet. It was a room with no walls, just thick, suffocating shadow. Lydia was sitting on a chair. She looked newer. Her dress was bright green. Her hair was glossy. Her eyes were perfectly aligned, and she was smiling. At her feet were other dolls, dozens of them, broken, dirty, abandoned. One of them was my old childhood doll. "What are you doing?" I asked in the dream. Her voice slid into my mind like oil. "Counting." "Counting what?" "Christmases," she said. "Families, keepers." She stood up, smoothly, like a fluid motion. "You put me in the dark," she whispered. "I do not like the dark. It is cold." She showed me images, flashes of memory that weren't mine. A child in a crib, screaming silently. A mirror reflecting a doll moving on its own. A trunk locking shut. "They always lock me away," she said, "but I always come out." "What do you want?" I begged. "Warmth," she said. "I want to be close." Then she started counting. 1, 2, 3. Each number was a step closer to me. I woke up with a gasp, and I heard it from the closet in the hallway. Thump, thump. She was trying to get out. The next morning I broke. I couldn't leave her in the closet. The guilt, the fear, the voice in my head. It was too much. I took the box out. I opened it. She was lying there, but her eyes were closed. I swear to you, I swear on my life. She did not have eyelids before, but there she was, sleeping. I thought, maybe if I just keep her in the room with me, maybe if I don't make her angry. "I'm not putting you in the closet," I told her. "You can stay on the dresser, in the light." I put her on the dresser in my bedroom. When I turned around, her eyes were open again, both of them staring at me. Hunger, pure hunger. I couldn't handle it. I took a strip of heavy grey duct tape, and I taped her eyes shut. "There," I said, my voice shaking. "You don't get to watch me. The rules say you can't watch me sleep." I pressed the tape down over that porcelain face. It felt like suffocating a child. I hated myself, but I left the tape there. That night was the end. I went to bed. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the city outside. I drifted off, and then the sound. Shh, rip, slow, tearing, adhesive pulling away from smooth surface. Shh, rip. My eyes snapped open. The room was dark. I looked at the dresser. The doll was there, but the tape was hanging loose from her face, and she wasn't sitting. She was standing on the edge of the dresser. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Tick, tock, scrape. She climbed down the dresser handles, like a spider. She hit the floor. She walked toward the bed. I could see her in the moonlight. Her face was full of cracks now. They were opening up. She climbed up the blanket. I felt her weight, 5 pounds of cold, dead porcelain pressing down on my legs. She crawled up my stomach. She sat on my chest. She brought her face close to mine. I could smell the old dust, the rot. Her mouth opened, and inside, tiny human teeth, rows of them. "You turned me away," she whispered. "You tried to blind me." "Please," I whimpered. "I am the gift that stays," she hissed. "I am the counter of breaths." She raised a tiny hand. Just then, the front door unlocked. My mother. She had driven up early to surprise me. "Emily!" she called out from the hall. "Honey!" The doll froze. Her head snapped toward the bedroom door. "Blood," the doll whispered. "Another one." She turned back to me, and she screamed. A screamed and I threw her. I threw her with everything I had. She hit the wall. Crunch. Not a shatter. A crunch. Wet. Heavy. She fell to the floor. Her head rolled. My mother ran into the room. Emily. Oh my God. We looked at the thing on the floor. The face was smashed open. And inside the head, it wasn't empty space. It was meat. Dry, fibrous, brown meat, like dried muscle. And it was pulsing. We didn't say a word. We grabbed her. We took her to the bathroom. We put her in the bathtub. My mom got a hammer from the toolkit. We smashed her. We smashed her until our arms ached. Until the porcelain was powder and the meat was pulp. It smelled like iron, like old blood. We scooped the mess into heavy trash bags. We double bagged it. We drove 5 miles out of town to a construction dumpster. We threw it in. As the bag hit the bottom, I heard it. One last tick. I wish I could tell you that was it. I wish I could say the haunting stopped. But remember that charm, the one with the E+. A week later, I found it on my pillow. I threw it in the river. 2 days later, it was in my coat pocket. And the counting. Sometimes, at 3 a.m, when the apartment is dead silent, I hear it, just at the edge of perception. Tick, tick, scrape, walking in the walls, and a whisper. 1, 2, 3. She is counting. She is waiting. Why am I telling you this? Because Christmas is coming. Because boxes are being wrapped right now. If someone gives you a doll this year, if it feels heavy, if there is a note with rules, do not bring it into your house. Do not invoke the name. Do not accept the gift. Because some gifts don't leave. Some gifts just wait for you to fall asleep. And please, look around the room you're in right now. Check the corners. Check the shelves. Did you invite everything in here? Or did something arrive? If you hear a ticking sound tonight, don't look in the mirror. And whatever you do, do not let her watch you sleep.